Hello friends, today we are going to discuss about Stephen Krashen's theory of second language acquisition, or it is also called monitor model hypothesis. Stephen Krashen is an expert in the field of linguistics, specializing in theories of language acquisition and development. Much of his recent research has involved the study of non-English and bilingual language acquisition. Since 1918, he has published well over 100 books and articles and has been invited to deliver over 300 lectures at university throughout the United States and Canada. His theory is called Stephen Krashen's theory of second language acquisition because it is suggested by American linguist Stephen Krashen. This theory prescribes and describes how the second language should be taught and acquired. It presents a straightforward distinction between learning and acquisition. It also explains how learners develop a mental device to monitor their mistakes while using second language. Stephen Krashen sees no fundamental difference between the way we acquire our first language and the subsequent languages. He says that humans have an innate ability that directs the process of language learning. Infants acquire their mother tongue simply by listening intensively to the utterance of others. Other language can also be acquired in the same way. Next, we have to discuss about the principles of monitor model hypothesis. This theory claims that the second language can be acquired the same way people learn their mother tongue. Next one, language acquisition does not require extensive use of conscious grammatical rules and does not require tedious drill. Next principle, acquisition require meaningful interaction in the target language. Natural communication in which spoken are concerned not with the form of their utterance, but with the message they are conveying and understanding. Next principle, comprehensible input is the crucial and necessary ingredient for the acquisition of language. Krashen's theory of second language acquisition consists of five main hypotheses. They are: first one, acquisition learning hypothesis; second one, monitor hypothesis; third one, input hypothesis; fourth one, affective filter hypothesis; and fifth one, natural order hypothesis. I will tell once again. The first, this theory consists of five main hypotheses. First one, acquisition learning hypothesis. Second one, monitor hypothesis. Third one, input hypothesis. Fourth one, affective filter hypothesis. And fifth one, natural order hypothesis. So now we have to discuss these five components in detail. First one, acquisition learning. The two important systems we use to learn a language are acquisition and learning. Acquisition learning distinction is the most fundamental of the five hypotheses in Krashen's theory and the most widely known among linguistics and language teachers. According to Krashen, there are two independent systems of foreign language performance: the acquired system and the learned system. The acquired system or acquisition is the product of subconscious process, very similar to the process children undergo when they acquire their first language. It requires meaningful interaction in the target language, natural communication in which speakers are concentrated not in the form of their utterance but in communicate. So simply, acquisition is subconscious, unplanned, and non-threatening environment. It is meaningful interaction to focus on meaning, not form, and give priority on spoken language. The learned system or learning is the product of formal instruction and it compare a conscious process. which result in conscious knowledge about the language. For example, knowledge of grammar rules. A deductive approach in a teacher centered setting produces learning, while an inductive approach in student centered setting leads to acquisition. In deductive approach, teacher centered setting produces learning, whereas in the case of inductive approach, student centered setting leads to acquisition. Learning in simply, it is a conscious, planned, and threatening environment, and it is formal, focus on form, and priority given to written language. Priority given to written language. Next hypothesis is monitor hypothesis. Here, students use the rule of a language they learn to correct their expression. It explains the relationship between acquisition and learning. That is, monitor hypothesis explain the relationship between acquisition and learning and define the influence of the latter on the former. Monitoring function is the practical result of learned grammar. According to Krashen, the acquisition system is the utterance of initiator, while the learning system performs the role of the monitor or the editor. The monitor acts in a planning, editing, and correcting the function when three specific conditions are met. Monitor act or monitor or the editor act in a planning, editing, and correcting function while three specific conditions are met. The three specific conditions are: first one, the second language learner has sufficient time at their disposal. Second one, they focus on form or think about correctness. And third one, they know the rules. Then next hypothesis is input hypothesis. A language is learned by comprehending the input, that is little above the current competence level of the learner. We acquire language in one way. We acquire language in only one way, when we understand the message. Input hypothesis is Krashen attempt to explain how the learner acquire a second language, how second language acquisition take place. It only concerned with acquisition, not learning. Second language acquisition is determined by the amount of comprehensible input that the learner receives. It implies that the language exposure given to the learners should not be too above or same level of pupils' current learning level. Next hypothesis is natural order hypothesis. Learner acquire a language in a predictable order. Does not depend on the what does not depend on the simplicity or complexity of the grammatical features involved. They acquire single word and string them together. They focus more on meaning. In natural order, they focus more on meaning. Then last hypothesis is affective filter hypothesis. It embodies Krashen's view that number of affective variables play a affective filter hypothesis sorry affective filter hypothesis means this embodies Krashen's view that a number of affective variables play a facilitative but non-casual role in second language acquisition. These variables include motivation, self-confidence, anxiety, and personality traits. I will say once again, affective filter hypothesis embodies Krashen's view that number of affective variables play a facilitative but non-casual role in second language acquisition. These variables include motivation, self-confidence, anxiety, and personality traits. Krashen claims that learners with high motivation, self-confidence, and good self-image, a low level of anxiety and extroversion are better equipped for success in second language acquisition. Low motivation, low self esteem, anxiety, introversion, and inhibition can raise the affective filter and form a mental block that prevent comprehensible input from being used for acquisition. In other words, when the filter is up, language acquisition, on the other hand, positive affect is necessary but not sufficient on its own for acquisition take place. So this is the five major components of monitor model hypothesis. Krashen monitor model is highly effective in language teaching. The teachers of English should ensure that the students get sufficient comprehensible input. Stress-free atmosphere, stress-free atmosphere is to be created. Thank you.